All right, put him up. Seriously? Yeah, come on. First thing, don't let the adrenaline get to you. Breathe slow, breathe deep, relax. Hip square to your opponent. Let them make the first move. Now use your feet, and when they go off balance, look for an opening. Boom.
Like that?
Yeah, that's it. Okay, only this time, just let me have it. Right on the jaw, okay? I can...
Oh, sorry.
No. It's all good. You keep that up and you'll be fine. All right, lesson's over. Gotta go.
Hey,
Thanks. You know, anytime.
just punch Spider-Man.
Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales launching so soon after Spider-Man released for the PS4 is a welcome surprise to say the least. And while we're going to have to wait for the full numbered sequel for Peter's story to take its next big step forward, the upcoming standalone sequel still looks like an exciting installment in the series. The 2018 PS4 game was, in many ways, Miles' origin story. So seeing him properly take on the role of Spider-Man in a story that will put the spotlight on him is certainly going to be interesting. And so, before we do that less than a month from now, here we'll be taking a look back at the events of Marvel's Spider-Man, focusing specifically on Miles, and tracking his entire journey to refresh our memories before his own new game comes along. This goes without saying, but let's say it anyway. There are major spoilers ahead for Marvel's Spider-Man. While Peter Parker is very much the most prominent character in Marvel's Spider-Man, the game features a pretty big and solid cast of supporting characters. Of them, the 15-year-old Miles Morales is perhaps one of the most crucial. His first appearance in the game is a brief one. Miles, who's a die-hard Spidey fan, is seen recording a video on his phone of Spider-Man going up against demons and stopping a helicopter from crashing in the city. Miles' real introduction into the actual narrative, however, comes through his father, Jefferson Davis, who's a cop in the NYPD. In the early hours of the game, Davis helps Spider-Man with an investigation of one of Wilson Fisk's shipyards, which leads to a fight with the demons, which in turn leads to the apprehension of said demons. Davis is injured in the process, but lauded as a hero. Good old Norman Osborn, New York's mayor who's up for re-election, uses this event to further his campaign and holds a ceremony in front of City Hall to honor Davis with a medal, with his wife and their son Miles both in attendance to witness it. The ceremony, however, is attacked by a group of demons led by Mr. Negative himself. Davis attempts to shield other police officers from bomb explosions and ends up sacrificing his life in the process. Miles, as you can imagine, is shaken up to say the least by the incident and the loss of his father. But Peter, who knows all too well how it feels to lose a father figure, wants to help. He tries reaching out to Miles, and though he initially fails, with the help of Aunt May and Miles' mother, he successfully persuades him in agreeing to volunteer at the feast shelter where Aunt May works, and which is operated by none other than Martin Lee incidentally, where Peter hopes that through his work, Miles will be able to better process and deal with his grief. Things quickly go wrong in New York, however, as they often do in Spider-Man stories. With Mr. Negative's help, and under Dr. Octopus's leadership, several of Spider-Man's fiercest enemies, Scorpion, Vulture, Rhino, and Electro, break out of raft, and Doc Ock also uses this opportunity to steal Devil's Breath, a lethal, virulent bioweapon that Oscorp accidentally created while trying to create cures for genetic diseases. Later, it is revealed that the cure was being developed for Harry Osborn. Dr. Octopus releases Devil's Breath in Times Square. The Sinister Six are set loose on New York, and convicts from the raft are running amok as well. Spider-Man fights an uphill battle as he retakes the city bit by bit, but has support from both Miles and MJ along the way. From helping out the influx of people coming to feast for help, to saving Peter during an attack on the shelter, to even having his own stealth section involving Rhino, Miles helps out Peter throughout the course of the story in various ways. But other, far more crucial things happen with him along the way as well. At one point in the game, MJ infiltrates Norman Osborn's penthouse to dig up information on Devil's Breath, and though she manages to make it out with the needed information, with an assist from Spidey at the end, she unknowingly also brings back a genetically modified Oscorp spider that escaped from Osborn's secret lab. That spider eventually crawls its way onto Miles when MJ returns to the feast shelter and bites him. And that, of course, is how Miles gets his powers. At the end of the game, some months after Peter has dealt with the Sinister Six, Dr. Octopus, and Devil's Breath, Miles tells Peter about these powers, revealing them to him by jumping up onto the roof and sticking from it upside down. Peter responds by revealing his own powers to Miles in a similar fashion.
It's pretty weird, right?
Not that weird.
Following that, Miles doesn't physically appear all that much in the 3 expansions in the City That Never Sleeps, but his story does see some interesting progress. Throughout the 3 DLCs, we learn that Miles is beginning to explore his powers, and that eventually he begins training with Peter in how to use them. Initially, Peter is reluctant to do so, and he warns Miles that his powers come with a lot of responsibility, which I'm sure are words that Spider-Man fans are sick of at this point, but does eventually agree to start training him. Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales is going to pick up a year after the events of the final DLC, Silver Lining. By now, Miles has been training with Peter for a year, and has fully stepped into the role of another one of New York's protectors, as another Spider-Man. We know that as the game begins, Miles' mom is campaigning for city council, and we also know that Roxxon Corporation and the Tinkerer-led Underground are going to be the main antagonists in this story. Beyond that, there's quite a bit that we don't know. How will Miles' story progress? How crucial to the series' larger story is this game going to be? How prominent will characters like Peter, Norman Osborn, or MJ be in this story? Clearly, we have a lot of questions, and we can't wait to learn the answers. Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales is out for PS5 and PS4 on November 12th. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from Gaming Bolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.